Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Strege, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did.
Okay, Dave, that's it. Screw you and your college flunkies. I've had enough of this from you and from everyone else. I know what you guys are trying to do. Break me down, drive me out of the force. Well, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than a lame prank like this to get Curtis Mooney to throw in his badge, so fuck you. Over.
Did you miss me? I guess not.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting episode of What's in My Room. So, today I have another couple of stacks here, and I figured I'd show you one that a friend of mine he created this specifically for me. This is a copy of his short film, Boris. And there's the front and back of it. And I don't know if you can see the side. But if you look really close here, it actually says to Dave, and his mother signed it too, which was kind of cool. But it's a film that ended up being, and here is a note. Dear Dave, I'm terribly sorry for keeping you waiting so long for this DVD. Apologies from the heart. But I hope you're going to enjoy this ultra-rare compilation of Boris-related material. Best wishes to you, Tammy, and your families. Greetings from Croatia. Philippe, also known as Boris. And sorry for my messy handwriting. And actually, I think that he actually has some pretty good handwriting. Don't know if you can see that, but thank you, Philippe. It's been an amazing journey. Now, Philippe, he's from Croatia, but I had him use his character Boris along with our Delusions of Grandeur discussions. So, giving a shout out to him. He's kind of special to me. Next, I have a Flesh Feast and 3 on a Meat Hook. Don't know if you can see that, but this is put out by Grind Global Media, and it says Flesh Feast, 1970. In one of the most vile, low-budget movies ever, the body of Adolf Hitler is kept alive through human experimentation by a gang of neo-Nazis in hopes he will eventually rebuild the Third Reich and rule the world. Now it's up to an investigative reporter to uncover the secrets of Dr. Frederick's experiments and youth treatments in order to save the world and himself. And 3 on a Meat Hook, filmed in 1973, I guess, is based on the disgusting and unspeakable true life crimes of serial killer Ed Gein, who was the inspiration for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Three on a Meat Hook is the chilling and blood-drenched tale of Billy Townsend, a disturbed young man with an unquenchable thirst for hunting female flesh. So when four beautiful young girls travel near his farm for a weekend getaway on the lake, it's just a matter of time before they all end up in Billy's sights and on his meat hooks. So there we have it. Three on a Meat Hook and Flesh Feast. Let's see. Then I have The Night Crew, which this says Survive the Night. It stars Luke Goss, Danny Trejo, Bokeem Woodbine, and it's directed by Christian Sesma. I have The Amityville Exorcism. The Amityville Exorcism. And this is directed by Mark Polonia. It's put out by Wild Eye. And it says it can happen anywhere. Next, I have Wicked Ones, which this is a Blu-ray copy of Tori Jones' film from Jonestown Films and Studio 605. Evil multiplies in the follow-up to 2017's indie sleeper hit, The Wicked One. Set a decade after the events in the first film, survivors Adam and Alex return to Carpenter Falls with their three children, only to be thrust into a final confrontation with the Wicked One and two crazy copycat killers. As the body count rises, the secret to the Wicked One's madness and how his violence has inspired others is revealed in the most depraved, sadistic, and wicked ways imaginable. This is what is this? This is Severin Films' copy of VIY. Love the cover art on that backing there. Got this from that friend who got me the Visit and Scare Package and Spell and all that. I got this a couple times ago. I just haven't gone out about it. Next, I have Naked Cannibal Campers, which is written and directed by Sean Donahue with Gator Blade Films, with a tagline. Andrew Allen from DailyGrindhouse.com said, "It's slimy, perverted horror that 100% lives up to its title." So, definitely going to be checking that out eventually. Next, I have a film that was filmed in Wisconsin, and it got an Arrow release. It's kind of an oddball. Lake Michigan Monster. And it is directed by Ryland Brixton Cold Twos. I guess it says on the back here it was banned in 4 lakes. All aboard! The combined spirits of H.P. Lovecraft and early Sam Raimi and Mystery Science Theater 3000 inhabit this action-packed tale of nautical daring do and monster mayhem. Winner of the Audience Award for Best International Film at the 2019 Fantasia Film Festival. So, there we have it. Lake Michigan Monster. Here I have Lou Ferrigno in a movie called Instant Death. It says, "Revenge is an understatement," and the film is directed by Era Payaya. Next, I have Vibes, which seems to be directed by Ken Kwapis. Going to be checking that out. That's got Cyndi Lauper and Jeff Goldblum starring in it. Here is another Criterion release. I thought this was kind of cool. This was a little bit more expensive. It was about $54-ish. I picked this up from where it moved to Mega Media, which it used to be Take Two, and it used to be owned by several different owners, and I think it. So these are Three Fantastic Journeys by Carol Zaman. Journey to the beginning of time, invention of destruction for destruction, and the fabulous Baron Munchausen. These are Czech films from the Czech Republic by a Czech film director. And I thought this was kind of an interesting box art. If you take a look at this, it looks pretty cool. Oh. Just wanted to show you this whole thing. It's kind of cool. And I guess it's got this little insert here called Three Fantastic Storm of Craft. So it's kind of got kind of a cool insert telling you about everything. And I started reading it when I got it. Still have to watch this. Kind of cool though. The films are from 1955, 1958, and 1972. So, still thought this was a cool pickup. Probably one of my coolest as of late. And then, of course, I have Mercedes Cabral and Brian Sy in The Woman in the Woods. This is a first directorial film by Kevin Ang. This says, fable becomes reality when Jason returns to his father's homeland of the Philippines after his passing and investigates the stories he grew up hearing. Jason wants to honor his father's memory, so he travels to experience his father's native home. Once he arrives, he finds himself living the myths that his father had told him as a child. The mysterious Magayan, known as the Woman in the Woods, asks Jason to aid her on her quest to return to her home on a volcanic island in the Philippines. This is the start of a mythical adventure that will change Jason's life. In a way, this is like the Philippine version of Jason and the Argonauts without the skeleton warriors. And he basically ends up taking up her fight and becoming like a man in the middle of like an ancient relationship, and because it's kind of taking him in to reality and from reality, it kind of takes him to a place where he kind of just ends up being the bait for this final fight, and chick ends up dying anyways, and then he's left with the remembrance of the enactment. So it was very weird, very boring, and maybe it's not boring to other people, but it's definitely slow paced. And some of the actresses in here were, even though they spoke English, they weren't very intelligible English. So I love the cover. I love the idea. I love the look of it. But I'm trying to decide whether I enjoyed it or not. So next I have a film called Tooth Fairy. And it says she's here to collect. The film is directed by Louisa Warren. And it says on the back, you'll wish she was only a fairy tale. One thing I do have to say, I will have to rewatch the Tooth Fairy, but apparently that's gonna have two other sequels to it, and the music reminds me of like a Marvel uh, film music. Like the music does not match the movie. It's like the music was made for film with more of a budget than it has. So that's all I'm going to say at this present time. Next, I have Amityville: The Awakening. Every house has a history, and this one has a legend. And this one is directed by Frank Calleran, put out by Lionsgate, and looks like Blumhouse kind of is somewhat behind it. Next, I have Vinegar Syndrome's Dimensions Occultus. And this one actually has the, and it's directed by Ruben Galando Jr. It is also called Don't Panic. And I've kind of been following some of the Mexican horror film genre for quite some time, and so I think this is like my third pickup of the Vinegar Syndrome Mexican stuff, at least with Ruben Galando Jr.'s stuff. Cemetery of Terror and Grave Robbers are the other two films. And I think I have both of them now. So I haven't watched them, but I've been collecting them. Next I have, oh, look at Big Lots price on that. That was $2, like $1.88. Dark Summer, directed by Paul Soleil, with Keir Gilchrist, Stella Mojave, Maestro Harrell, and with Grace Phillips and Peter Stormare. Some crushes last forever. This is put out by IFC Midnight and Scream Factory. And yeah, that's another slow-paced film. Still have to go back and rewatch it. Next, I have Deep Blue Sea 3. And this one is directed by John Pogue, put out by Warner Home Entertainment. Direct to video sequel. I love that Meg looking like. I swear it came on the tail end of Meg. Next, I have an animated feature. It's Vixen the movie, and I've actually been trying to see if Vixen the TV series is out on something. It looks like only the movie is. So I have the movie for the meantime. Next, I have a movie called Touchy Feely. This I picked up for $1. It's got Rosemary DeWitt, Allison Janney, Ron Livingston, Scoot McNairy, Ellen Page, John Pace, and it's directed by Lynn Shelton. So going to check that out. Then I have Tim and Eric's $1 Billion Movie, which that is directed by Tim Heidecker and Eric Wareheim. Next, I have William Baldwin, Stella Warren, and Sarah Butler in a movie called The Stranger Within. The film is directed by Adam Noitsky Wolf. So I'm going to check that out eventually. Next, I have Steven Seagal and Johnny Messner in The Perfect Weapon. And it says they made him, they betrayed him, they are about to pay. And it's directed by Titus Payar. Next, I have a film called The Music Box. It says evil things come in small packages, and it's very hard to see who might have actually directed this. I'm not exactly sure. It says. Next, I have the Death Star. Unlock the secrets of how the first stars were born. And this looks like it might actually be a documentary, because it shows BBC on the back. So, looking forward to checking that out eventually. Ugh. All right, next I have H.P. Lovecraft's The Dark Sleep. This one has Brett Piper's involvement in it. I guess it's an adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's Dreams in the Witch House. So, looking forward to checking that out. Next, I have a film directed by Andrew Renzi, and Richard Gere stars in, along with Dakota Fanning and Theo James in The Benefactor. Gonna check that out. Next, I have a film called Territory. And it says, when they said, don't go in the woods, they meant here. And this is put out by Mark Wenger, Dan Doran, and Kevin Kangas. It's an anthology of sorts, I believe. And it says Kangas Khan Films. Gonna check that out eventually. This one was $1, but I have yet to watch it. It's called Super Furball. Looks like it might be fun. Looks like it might be cool family little feature, and I guess it's directed by Paula Noronen. At least that's what it looks like. But it looks like it might actually be fun. When a young girl acquires a secret superpower from her pet guinea pig, her extraordinary life turns upside down. She decides to use her newfound powers to make a difference in the world, which helps her in conquering her own fears. Super Furball is a story of courage, friendship, and becoming comfortable in your own skin. Next, I have a film that is from Mondo Macabre, or distributed by Mondo Macabre, and this was a film directed by Go Yeong-nam from South Korea from 1981, and it's called Suddenly in the Dark. I know nothing of this film, but it is all region, and it's got an HD transfer from the film negative, an interview with the producer by the name of David Suh, and an interview with critic Kim Bong-suk. So, definitely looking forward to checking that out. Next, I have Starship Apocalypse. I actually picked it up for myself. It's directed by Neil Johnson, and it is the sequel to a certain film. So, next I have a movie called Special Forces. It says Survival, Honor, Sacrifice on it, and it seems to be I guess it is with Entertainment One and Easy Company are the two production companies, and I guess I'll have to check it out eventually. Alrighty. And now I will show you some more. Next, I have a film called The Dead Room. It's directed by Jason Stutter. And I guess Jed Brophy, Jeffrey Thomas, and Laura Peterson are star in the film, and it says in the tagline, "There is another intruder. It is you." And this is a Raven Banner release, so I'm definitely going to check that out when I get a chance. Next, I have a film from the writers and director of American Psycho, starring Hannah Murray, Sosie Bacon, Marianne Rendon, Suki Waterhouse, and Matt Smith in a film called Charlie Says. Haven't opened it, but I have watched it. It's directed by Mary Herron, and it is put out by Shout Factory and IFC Films. So, going to be checking that out. Here I have a Pang Brothers film called Diary. It is a new thriller from the creators of Bangkok Dangerous and The Eye. While spending her days crafting wooden dolls and writing in her diary, pretty young Winnie, pop star Charlene Choi, waits in vain for the return of her boyfriend, Seth. One day she meets another man who so closely resembles her lost love that Winnie brings him into her life and tries to mold him in Seth's image. But all is not as it seems. Packed with mind-bending twists and turns, this riveting psychological thriller from the creators of The Eye is packed with eye-popping special effects and will keep you guessing until the final shocking ending. So there I have Diary. Next I have The Classic Comes to Life, Adventures of Aladdin. It says in the tagline, a whole new world of adventure. And the film is directed by Glenn Campbell. It's put out by the Asylum Home Entertainment, and the Asylum often finds its home on the Sci-Fi Channel. Next, I have, signed by the director himself, the Blu-ray of the trilogy of his Plague trilogy. So I've got The Plague 2, Biohazard Blood, and The Plague 3, The Road's End. And it's signed on the front here, and it's signed right there too. So definitely looking forward to checking the other two out eventually. Finally picked up a copy of the actual DVD that he created with Kunikai. Amir Skalanja is the director of Confessions of a Homicidal Prostitute, which Kay Brune is Lilith in here. And I guess one of the special features on this is that we get a copy of the short film Rape Pillage Kill. Rape Pillage Kill. And Foxtrot Productions is the production company of Skalanja. So this says Lilith Kay Brune is a drug-induced, abused prostitute who straps on her latest house call killers and her client in the most brutal way imaginable. This new acquired taste of blood sends her down the path of revenge as she takes her life back. So, definitely like the little poster here. Next I have this one. I know I picked up from Big Lots, but Legend of the Tsunami Warrior. This is put out by Magnet releasing Magnolia Entertainment, and thought it was pretty cool looking. Next I have Nessie and Me. Anything is possible if you just believe. The film stars Michael Perry, Tony Hudson, John Henry Richardson, Walker Mintz, and Jolie Ledford. And the film is directed by Jim Wynorski. Next I have a movie called Bloodline, which seminary student Brett Ethos falls away from the church and his faith, only to find out that his bloodline is sought by real evil. On a trip with friends and an old flame, he goes to explore a cabin shrouded in mystery and legend. There he discovers the true nature of his heritage. Fatal temptation or triumphant redemption? His life and the lives of his friends hang in the balance, and it's put out by Osiris Entertainment, but this is the horror pack cover design. Kind of cool. Next, I have a copy of House of Sand and Fog, which involves Jennifer Connelly and Ben Kingsley. It's kind of a film that is similar in style to Crash or 21 Grams, films of that nature. Next I have a documentary called I Am Bruce Lee, and that is directed by Pete McCormick. I Am Bruce Lee is the amazing story of one of the greatest icons ever to enter the public consciousness, the first film to truly tell Bruce Lee's story in his own words and actions, as well as through the eyes of many international stars from the worlds of film, television, and the sports. Featuring original interviews with UFC President Dana White, NBA superstar Kobe Bryant, boxing champion Manny Pacquiao, actor Mickey Rourke, the Black Eyed Peas Taboo, legendary martial artist Dan Inosanto, Richard Bustillo, Bob Wall entered the Dragon, and Jean LaBelle, and unprecedented conversations with Bruce Lee's daughter Shannon Lee and wife Linda Lee Cadwell, plus the best of Bruce Lee's groundbreaking martial arts action films and rare archival footage. I Am Bruce Lee is the definitive story of a man whose legacy will endure forever. So there we have I Am Bruce Lee. Next I have a film picked up for $1 called Away. Timothy Spall and Juno Temple star in it. Two Fractured Souls, A Million Blinding Lights. And the film is directed by David Blair. I'm going to check that out eventually. Here I have another Honey, I Shrunk the Kids film called Honey, I Shrunk the Family. It seems to be a Swedish film. from 2014, and it's actually hard to figure out who the director is, but it says on here an adventure of enormous proportions. Put out by Viva Pictures. So yeah, I actually really enjoyed this film, even though it was odd. Next, I have Gretel and Hansel, A Grim Fairy Tale. Ended up getting that from a good friend of mine here in Milwaukee. Next, I have another Horror Pack limited edition Blu-ray. It stars Aaron Kinser, Marissa Pistone, Spencer Garrett, Harry Lennox, and Doug Jones in a film called Cruel Will. Tragedy strikes married couple Lily and Paul when her father dies. Lily brings home the urn housing her father's cremated remains, forcing Paul to, on a daily basis, face his despised father-in-law. Soon after, the lid to the urn mysteriously disappears, and Paul begins to experience unearthly events which, like a twisted joke, only he can see. Here I have another Andrew Jones film. This time it's called The Jonestown Haunting, based on a true story. The cult didn't survive, but the evil did. I love that cover, man. In 1978, a remote settlement occupied the People's Temple. An infamous cult led by Reverend Jim Jones became the site of several murders and one of the biggest mass suicides in history. All members of the cult were supposed to die that day, but one survived. 10 years later, Sarah Logan is still plagued by terrifying nightmares. She decides to return to the abandoned settlement with her psychiatrist, Dr. Alderman, hoping to finally put the ghosts of the past to rest. But Sarah soon discovers the cult's former home has become a breeding ground for the supernatural. Now she faces a new fight for survival, battling malevolent entities in an attempt to once again escape the potent darkness of Jonestown. So, once again, directed by Andrew Jones. I picked this one up for $7.99 at Best Buy. That was a pretty decent pickup for Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Of course, it's directed by Kevin Smith, so I can't wait to check that film out. That's all I'm going to say about that film. Next, I have a film that's directed by Olaf Ittenbach, put out by Phase 4 Films, and it's called Legend of Hell. In England, in the year 1434, an extraordinary woman is tasked with transporting a legendary amulet in the city of Kelmia. Pursued by an army that means to take the amulet for itself, she soon becomes involved in a battle unlike any that history has seen before. Joining forces with two other guardians, the unlikely team must now deliver the amulet to its destination in order to stop the bloodshed and save humanity from its ultimate destruction. Here I have Legend of Hell by German indie filmmaker. Next I have Jinn. This is a Screen Media Dark Side release. It's from the director of Poltergeist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And it says on here, Evil wants an heir. From horror legend Toby Hooper. This has to be like before he died. Desperate to put the traumatic loss of their infant child behind them, an Emirati couple return home, but home doesn't provide the comfort they seek. Soon they are tormented by unexplainable events and begin to question if their neighbors are human or the sinister shape-shifting demons, the Jinn. So, I'm going to check that out eventually. Next, I picked up Sub Rosa Cinema's release of Elliot. So, set in the dark depths of a strictly controlled universe, enter the world of a lonely maintenance worker named Elliot, who struggles to discover his true identity only to fall down a hellish rabbit hole of self-disgust and harsh inner truths. So, going to be checking that out eventually. Next, I have Tales from the Hood 3. Academy Award-winning director Spike Lee, executive producers with directors Rusty Kundayev and Darren Scott in this next installment in the groundbreaking original Tales from the Hood. Following the franchise's cult classic Robots, this all-new anthology, which features Tony Todd and Lynn Whitfield, is 4 terrifying tales that will scare and thrill audiences with its horrifying twists and social commentary. Telling tales and taking souls. So, there we have it. Tales from the Hood 3. Next, I have Navy SEALs vs. Zombies. This one is directed by Stanton Barrett. And it says, it's lock and load on the living dead when the U.S. government loses all contact with the vice president during a campaign stop in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. A battle-hardened SEAL team just back from Afghanistan is sent in. But they'll soon discover that this is no ordinary tactical rescue. The city is under siege by hordes of fast-moving, flesh-eating undead. The infection is spreading. Urban warfare has been unleashed with no cure in this sight and time running out. Can an elite unit of badass warriors now survive their most horrific mission of all? Ed Quinn, Michael Dudikoff, pro wrestling champion Chad Gunner, Lael, Molly Hagan, Olympian Lolo Jones, and NBA legend Rick Fox star in this explosive military shocker, filmed with the participation of former U.S. Navy SEALs. Put out by Anchor Bay Entertainment. Next I have Kisarazu's Cat's Eye. And Life, Death, Rebirth, Love, Music, Beer, Baseball. After 3 years, the cats are laughing, crying, and saying sayonara. So, directed by Fuminori Kaneko. Both of these. Kisarazu cats are all home spending their days goofing off, drinking beer, and playing baseball as usual. So I guess it's basically a baseball team. Japanese. Next, I have The Convent. And I guess this is directed by Paul Hyatt. In the early 17th century, innocent young Persephone is falsely accused and put on trial for her life. Her fate seemed sealed except for the timely intervention of the mysterious Reverend Mother, offering her not just sanctuary but hope. For the Reverend Mother is the self-appointed leader of a small religious retreat, a secluded priory where her fellow sisters devote their lives to the Lord and seek atonement for their pasts. But upon arrival, Persephone is plagued with terrifying visions, and soon realizes that it's not salvation that awaits, but a battle for her very soul itself. So there we have The Convent. Next, I have El Gringo, starring Scott Adkins and Christian Slater. The film is directed by Eduardo Rodriguez. Stealing was the easy part. So I'm going to be checking that out eventually. Next, I have Lenny James, Catalina Sandino Moreno, Grant Bowler, Alfred Molina, and Jean-Claude Van Damme in a movie called Swelter. Be careful who you burn. And the film is put out by Well Go USA Entertainment, but directed by Keith Palmer. 10 years ago, a bank robbing team stole $100 million from a Vegas casino. Not all of them got away. Now Bishop Lenny James is a small-town sheriff making an honest living, with no memory of his criminal past. But when his old crew rolls into town looking for the buried cash, the perfect getaway threatens to turn into a nightmare of greed, revenge, and retribution. So there we have Sweltered. Next, I have, directed by Takashi Miike, Yakuza Apocalypse. In the ruthless underground world of the Yakuza, Kamura is the legendary boss of the underlings. He is rumored to be invincible, but in truth is a vampire with superhuman powers. Kamura's most loyal underling, Kagayama, is seen as weak by the rest of the gang due to his sensitive skin, but can't be tattooed. When assassins, aware of boss Kamura's secret, arrive from abroad, he is given an ultimatum: return to the international syndicate he left years ago or die. During an assassination attempt against Kamura, he bites Kagayama and passes on his vampire powers to the unsuspecting Yakuza. Interesting. And finally, Zoe Bell and Joe Lando in Freshwater. It says terror lives below the surface. Got a big ass crocodile on. This is put out by Wild Eye, but it's directed by Brandius Berry. I haven't yet opened that yet. Next, I have a movie called Near Extinction. Shangri-La, a film by Nick Wouters. And it says from the creator of NBC's sci-fi series The Event. From the creator of NBC's The Event, creature thriller in. Okay, yeah, looks pretty cool. At least on the outside of the cover. So, Apocalypse Dead with Katie Kohler, Ashlyn McEvers, Nelly Sciotto, Apocalypse Road, Run, Fight, and Survive. And this is put out by Wild Eye and written and directed by Brett Bentman. So, looking forward to checking that out. Next, I have Demon Hunter. The War for Your Soul Has Begun. So that's a Wild Eye film, and it's directed by Zoe Kavanaugh. And it says, when darkness falls, a heroine will rise. After she is captured by police for questioning in the slaying of a man she claimed was a demon, Taryn Barker must prove her innocence and the existence of demons. But when a demonic cult captures the daughter of one of the detectives on the case, the police must trust and unleash this warrior on the satanic group, who are intent on bringing an ancient evil force into the world. And this is called Demon Hunter. And I guess last but not least, Strapped for Danger Part 2. This is directed by Richard Giffen and produced by Lenny Schwartz. It's written by Duncan Flaster. And it stars Sean Brown, Chris Fisher, Ninny Nuthin, Victoria Paradise, Ricky Irizarry, Anthony Rainville, Alec Farquharson, Jay Walker, Geoff White, Graham Stokes, Cadriel Truss, Evan Clinton. And songs are by The Press War. The Streakwell without equal must go deep undercover to bust up a gay porn studio that is blackmailing Republican senators. If you enjoyed the naughty antics of Strapped for Danger, you are going to pop your jock for Strapped for Danger 2. We must warn you, this is the original, uncut, uncensored version and contains scenes of nudity and sexual situations not suitable for those under 17. So, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you have enjoyed your theatrical experience of seeing what I have within my room. I know that I have 3 more stacks here to go through here to show you, and I have more on the way. So hopefully you like, share, and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what you have in your collection. And I'll show you more on the next episode. Stay tuned.
You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?